Right, hello everyone, welcome to the Uncensored Patriots, where we're joined tonight with Leilani Dowding. Hello mate, how you doing?
Well, aside from everything going on, I'm good in myself, but yeah, world's a
Good
bit
mate.
mad.
Good, we already know each other, obviously we've had you on as a guest speaker on the space. But I just will, just for 1 second, just quickly, just tell everyone a brief background about yourself and how you know, where you're from, where you grew up, and then just how you got onto politics, and then we're literally going to go through everything what we talked about.
God, where to start? I won't go too but far back, but
No, you don't have to.
basically,
Brief summary, mate. Brief summary.
um, basically, I think I just got really outspoken about the lockdowns and things like that. I was never political,
Mm.
but apparently everything that I said was political and people made it political. I went from being just like your everyday normal person, just probably in the middle, to people calling me far right and a bigger and this or that. You know, I'm half Filipino, so
Yeah.
it's all crazy to me. But yeah, I'm from Bournemouth originally. Horrible to see what's happened to my hometown that used to be really,
Mm.
really safe. And I've just been speaking out about a lot of the things that really affect us socially, and affect our everyday lives and my friends' lives. I'm up in Staffordshire, kind of in the middle of the countryside, so things aren't the same here as they are in London, but I have a lot of friends in London. I used to live in London. I've got, I know what's happened to all the areas and just other places very local to me, and I see the creep coming along, and what's happening down there with the crime and everything starting to happen around here. And so all these things that affect us socially, I've been speaking about it, and they've very much been politicized now. So I think it's kind of that time where you speak up and people are going to say you're a political person, but I think it's important to really get involved and pay attention to what's happening.
100%. And like I say, I mean, mate, I've got to say, like, do you know what I mean? I love my country. I love England. I love the UK in its entirety. But what I will say is that, how do you deal with so many people that are still stuck in that mindset where they've got that defeatist attitude when they go, well, do you know what I mean? It's not affecting us yet, is it? Well, don't have to worry. Like, it's happening, somewhere else, but until it happens to us. What do you say to people like that?
Well, I think it's a hard one because I think more and more people are saying it's getting closer and closer to them, and you can't wait for it to be on your doorstep. People ask me why I speak out when I'm, behind big gates and I'm in a nice area, but my sister's not, my friends aren't, my family isn't, my parents are still in Bournemouth. I have to worry about them. Everyone I love is affected by this, and it's going to happen to everyone in every area. And even where I am in the countryside, we have rural crime, we have people stealing sheep, we have animals being stolen and killed in fields, ducks, geese, things, birds on ponds, just loads of crime, tractors being stolen, or their sat navs being taken, or farmers' quad bikes and things like that. So we have a lot of crime and bad things happening in the countryside. Things are a little bit different, but a lot of it's kind of related as well. So, I just think people, wherever you are, you need to see what's happening, because it's coming to all of us. No one is immune from this. No one is immune from it. And when you hear people starting the name calling and stuff because you're speaking out, because you've seen the danger that's going on, you've just got to look past it, and you've got to ignore that and the name calling, and just keep on the path that you're on.
Yeah, no, 100%. Which leads me to go, like you say, about the animals getting killed in do you know what I mean, out in the woods and stuff like that. Preferably what I've been seeing is swans being taken by, I'm gonna move on to this now, by migrants.
Yeah. And that's not a new thing. That's been happening for ages. And then all of a sudden now, because we're talking about it, because it's happening more, people want to say, oh, you're so racist. It's not that. It's not, or it's a conspiracy theory. But it's not. It's being reported. You go back 10 years and you'll see it's like a lot of the Eastern European gangs. You notice how it's never pigs. pigs aren't really stolen or killed in the fields they're in. It's always sheep,
Why
right?
is that?
Lambs. Exactly. So,
Exactly.
you know, and this is the thing. This has been going on. It's not a new, but again, it's like when you talk about it, people want to start throwing names up, but we've got to start facing the reality of what it is and, you know, what's happening.
100%. It's like when they throw, mate, when they throw names at us though, like when they throw, say, oh, they label us as like, oh, you're far right racist, or you're Nazi, or you're this, or you're that. You just got to laugh at them nowadays. I don't take no notice of people anymore. If they, because go on.
No, because the sad thing is that there are real racists and there are real Nazis and there are real bigots. But by calling everyone that just points out a few simple facts, you're actually completely diminishing that term and making it mean nothing. So, you know, like you've told me in a different conversation, your dad's from India, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, none of us are racist. We're not racist. What we don't want is, you know, you can ask my mum who's from the Philippines, ask your dad who's from India. No one wants illegals coming here and taking money off those hardworking people. Your dad worked hard all his life. My mum worked hard. Both our parents, they both integrated into this country. They learned the language. I don't even speak Filipino because my mum wanted English to be my first language and she wanted me to be fluent in English. I don't even know Filipino. My mum's fully Filipino.
Yeah.
There were kids in school where English isn't even their first language. And, you know, this is what's happening. We've got people, there's a lot of women from certain cultures who don't work and who don't understand and can't speak the language. You've got our NHS. You ask any hospital worker, go and ask a doctor or a surgeon or a nurse who works in a hospital and say, how many translators do you guys have on standby? And you will be astonished at the number, right? But you point out this and you're not being racist. We're just simply saying, you know, facts. And people like our parents, fully integrated, worked their ass off, paid into the system and paid their taxes to use the NHS and stuff. And, you know, they aren't sitting there like claiming everything they can, doing nothing like these people are. So, you know, you've got the words all are pretty much meaningless because if you start calling everyone a racist, then no one's racist.
So is that? Yeah, but it's like when they throw around Islamophobe, mate. It's do you know what I mean? It's a made up word. I could be like, all right, if they're saying Islamophobe, do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, people should be entitled to question things. There's nothing racist about questioning things that when things don't add up to you, right? For example, it could be something like, I don't know. Let's say I don't know, we want to question Islam, for example, right? You know, that doesn't make you a racist because you're criticizing a religion or you're questioning. You want to question something that doesn't sit right with you with that religion, or it could be. I mean, or it could be Israel. Do you know what I mean? If you question something within regards to Israel, right? You got people who just decide to jump on you and call you an anti-Semite just because you want to try and make sense of something, you know, within regards to whether that be Islam or the Jewish community. People can't just throw a label at you going, you anti-Semite or you dirty Jew hater or you're an Islamophobe or you're a Muslim hater, etc., because everyone's entitled to their opinion, mate. Everyone's entitled to question something. If something doesn't add up to me and I can't make sense of it, I'll be like, well, why is that? Why is that? And because I'm asking that, you get a lot of people that will jump on you just because you said, well, why is that? Oh, you're an anti-Semite. Or oh, you're an Islamophobe. Oh,
yeah.
like, no, we're not. We're just normal people that are just questioning something that doesn't add up to us. Do you know what I'm saying?
You know what? I actually am really glad you brought that up because I've noticed that. And I think that whichever way you play it, I feel like they're using anti-Semitism a lot in the USA, calling a lot of people anti-Semites in the USA, and they're calling a lot of people in Britain Islamophobes, and they're trying to pass these anti-Semitism laws in America, and then they're trying to pass these Islamophobe laws here. And again, I feel like whichever way you look at it, I'm a free speech absolute. So I think you should be able to say, you know, what you want to say, not incite people to kill or be violent or anything like that.
I agree with you.
You should be able to say what you want, and you should be able to ask the questions that you want. So I think, you know, you see them doing that in America, you see them do, and actually a bit of both in both places, but you see a lot of it, like the anti-Semitism laws in America, you see the anti-Islamophobe laws here, and I think it's all curtailing free speech, and it will go across everything in the end, except probably not Christianity, because you can bash Christianity as much as you want, but, you know, not anything else, all under the guise of, like, you know, being this, like, you know, really good, virtuous person. You can still bash Christianity. So it's all, you know, I do see that playing out, and I do think it's really dangerous. I think it's really, really dangerous to have anything like that, because you do see with the Islamophobe laws here, you do even see ex-Muslims that have come out and said, hold on a minute, like, you know, now I'm not going to even be able to speak about my experience, bad experience as a Muslim. I can't even speak about that, because you're going to see that as Islamophobia. Then we see things where you get the two-tier policing, like we saw somebody burning the Quran. Not a smart idea. I'm not going to ever suggest anyone do that. I would never burn a Quran.
We don't advocate doing that, by the way, anyone, just saying.
So yeah, so somebody did that, but a man came out, attacked him with a knife, kicked him while he was on the floor, was flashing around with his knife, pleaded guilty to possessing a bladed weapon in public, also pleaded guilty of assault, but then walked away from jail, you know, with a suspended sentence, no jail time. So it's like, how is it going? How is this happening? He literally came at somebody with a knife. But I suppose suddenly it's okay because what he was doing with the Quran, which isn't actually, I don't think, illegal. So, you know, I just think, you know, the world's gone mad, and you brought me to what's happened today. It's just yesterday, it's horrific.
This is what I'm saying. Like, just touching base on the illegal immigration side of things, right? I mean, I touched base on this the other day when I went to interview Paul Golding, leader of Britain First. I touched base on illegal immigration with Paul, and I said, mate, I do not agree with illegal immigration whatsoever. It shouldn't be happening. I'm completely against it. I said, I explained the fact that I think that they should be placing the Royal Navy in the Channel as a deterrent and allowing them to do their jobs properly by protecting UK waters, right, from any existential threat, i.e. invaders that's coming in illegally, right? Which he agreed. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah, I totally agree. I'm the same way as you. I'm really the same way as you. And by the way, I actually went to America. I'm back in England now, and I got a visa, and I went through the immigration system the legal way, like my mum did when she came here. And it cost me thousands. Not only that, I was not going to be allowed to claim benefits. And if I couldn't work, I would have to go back to England. So I don't understand why these people are coming over and we are paying for them. I just read today that it's gone up to like 15 billion a year to paying for illegals, because there's so much money being made. There is so much money being made by Serco, Clearwater, all their like cronies. You've got BlackRock buying up all the housing.
Who's in bed with Keir Starmer?
Exactly.
Who's had meetings with Keir Starmer?
Exactly. And they also, BlackRock also own a bit of Serco. So it's all like stealing the money from us, the taxpayers, giving it to the government dish it out to Serco, Clearwater, then they can rent back some of those properties that they've bought, and they're taking all of our money and spreading it amongst themselves. And, you know, follow the money. The amount that it costs to house them, to feed them, to provide security for them, their clothes, their phones they're getting, all of this stuff. It's like all coming from us. And I'm so dead against it. And it doesn't make me a racist. Not only that, the cultures that these guys come from, they're coming from places that hate women, hate gays, hate women, everything that we fought for, they're like dead against. You know, they're cultures that tell me how you, if you're really fleeing a war, would you leave your wife and kids?
No, I bloody wouldn't. And I made this, mate, I made this point so many times. I basically said, look, I'm not being funny, but if these migrants are really coming from war-torn countries, right? And by the way, obviously we both know they're all men that are coming in coming in droves every single day in, day out at Dover, right? There's no women there. It's all fighting age men. So if these men are really, really fleeing war-torn countries, what type of man would leave his wife and his children in a war zone? Hello?
No,
Makes sense. Make that make sense. Do you know what I'm saying? So to me, it's bullshit.
100%. 100%. I mean, look, right? Bournemouth, they had a bunch of Albanians running a drug company out of one of the car washes there. It's like, tell me, where's the war in Albania? How are you coming? Where's the war in Albania? What are you fleeing from? You know, it's and then, you know, I'll have arguments with people. I think I put something on my Facebook a while ago. It was a bunch of illegals, asylum seekers, had been housed in these ex-army barracks, and they weren't happy with the accommodation, so they were going to sue the government, get more money out of us, right? Obviously, they must have some human rights lawyers. These ones, who's paying for them? Who's paying for them? Like, one way that it's either no win, no fee, and they scrape it all back from the taxpayers, or the taxpayers are outright paying for it. So I write this on my my Facebook, and I've got someone going, well, they're asylum seekers. It's an asylum hotel. And I'm like, yes, but you know what? All the illegals know. They cross over, they get processed, and the first thing they do is they say, I'm claiming asylum. And they might say, I'm going to be persecuted for being gay, and they pretend to be gay. Yet one person that's pretended to be gay has already raped a woman. So hold on, you're not actually gay. You're pretending you're gay, and you raped a woman, but your whole excuse for your asylum was that. And then the worst thing is when the asylum seekers get done for, say, rape, and then the judge is like, well, we're not going to deport you because in your country, rapists might get persecuted. So now that you're a rapist, you will be persecuted because you're a rapist. So actually, you can stay here. So it actually benefits them if they don't want to be deported to go rape somebody, because they'll use the fact that they're a rapist that's going to be harmed as their defense to stay in the country. So it's gone completely and utterly mental. And I just cannot get my head around it. It drives me crazy.
Neither can I. And this is what I'm saying. It's like you've had that recently. You've literally had a 10-year-old girl, right? So let's get this straight. You had a 10-year-old Irish girl, right, get raped by an illegal migrant, right? On the premises of a migrant hotel. So let's just quickly just look at a few things here, right? All these migrant hotels over in the UK, they're heavily policed. There's always police presence. There's always security, right? Especially over in, obviously, Ireland, you know, you've got all the guard eye, and it's all heavy security, right? To protect the migrants, So I would like to know, how did a 10-year-old girl get past police, security, you know, and get raped inside the actual hotel that's housing asylum seekers, illegal migrants? How does that happen?
It's just sick. It's sick.
You know
I can't even.
And that's why Ireland's up in an uproar at the minute. and they're literally on the verge of a revolution because they're not having it anymore.
And who do they punish? They punish the people, the protesters. I mean, like you saw it, I saw it. Ezra Levant getting tear gas. GB News reporters getting attacked for covering the protest. And why were those people protesting? Because a 10-year-old child was raped by one of them. And it's just, I mean, I don't know how much we can take before like the whole country actually wakes up and people will actually stand up to the government. Like, I can't get my head around it, Sean. Honestly, it just leaves me speechless at times. You know, I don't have kids, but I haven't.
It does with me, mate. It does with me, because at the end of the day, right, I've got a family. You know what I mean? So, you know, I worry about the protection of my own family because of the state the country's in, because of all these illegal migrants that are roaming about everywhere, and they're running out of places to go. So literally it's getting more compact and they're spreading out, they're fanning out into everyone's areas, right? Because they're running out of space now. So everyone's taking over. Yeah, everyone's noticing.
They're taking over like army barracks and stuff. 900 men.
Yeah. Everyone's noticing the influx in illegal migrants in their area where they're living, all up and down the UK, Scotland, from the top of Scotland. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm saying. So for people, do you know what I mean? Like, for parents, and you know what I mean, for people that have got families, right? You know, this is myself as an example. This is what I'm trying to explain. This is what I get a lot angry about, and I get fearful of, is the fact that I worry about my partner and my kids. Yeah. I worry about their protection. Do you know what I mean? You know, my missus won't even go and walk our dog now. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, out of fear of, do you know what I mean? Because, well, look what happened in Uxbridge with that man that got stabbed. He had his dog. He was out walking his dog, and this Afghan national has come out and just stabbed him up. Do you know what I mean? Killed him outright. Not to mention a 14-year-old boy he stabbed as well, and another 45-year-old bloke who's now got life-changing injuries. Do you know what I'm saying?
This is what I mean, Sean. It's just like, you know, that's when I referred to what we spoke about today and the events today. I meant this, and I'd just been speaking to one of my friends, and she was just like, Lani, I'm just like in tears. I can't take it. Like, he's just out walking his dog. How many more people is this going to happen to? It could, you know, that could be our brother, our parents, you know, our son. You know, why is a 14-year-old boy? And they're saying it's not terrorism. They've come out and they've said, right, it's not terrorism. Okay, it's not terrorism. But Tommy Robertson is up on terrorism charges. He's up on terrorism charges for something he said.
Because he didn't give his PIN number to his phone.
So they want to get him on, they want to get him on terrorist charges for that. Yet this guy has killed somebody and stabbed a 14-year-old and another 45-year-old. And it's like, no, it's fine. That's just normal. That's just a normal everyday occurrence. And then I read, the Romanian guy that stabbed the young 12, I think she was 12 or 14, the tourist from Australia in Leicester Square. His attempted murder charges have been dropped. Okay, so you stabbed a little girl. What are you doing if you're not trying to kill her? Just a bit of fun? Like, what? I'm just going to stab someone. The attempted murder. So I think it was just assault. I've just decided I'm going to stab somebody because it's just assault. It's not, like, I don't understand it. I cannot get my head around what's going on. And then, as I was saying as well, I have an 8-year-old niece, right? I'm looking after her for half term, and I look at her and I'm just like, she's so important to me. I don't have my own children, and it's crazy. I think to myself, God, thank God I don't have my own kids. I don't know what I would do. I'd be so nervous. Like, I wouldn't want them to be in school. Like, schools aren't safe. Walking down the street's not safe. Nowhere safe like it used to be when I used to walk around in Bournemouth. But I've got my niece, and I worry about her. Like, you know, like anything. It shouldn't be like this. It should not be like this.
No, it shouldn't, mate. You were speaking about so you said you're from Bournemouth. Bournemouth holds Christmas markets, don't they?
Oh, they might have done. I don't know if they do. I don't know if they do. I don't know if they do for sure. I haven't been. I've got to be honest. I haven't been down there for
There
years.
was. I would think there was not too long, like a few years back. And when I was at the Christmas market, there was armed police walking around the Christmas markets. It should be happening. Why should there?
It must be for Tommy Robinson fans, right? It must be Tommy Robinson supporters all the armed police around the Christmas markets for, right?
This is what I'm talking about. It's a clown world. Do you know what I mean? And this is what I'm saying. It's like you've got. Mate, that what happened when you back to the illegal migrants. Like I say, you've got what happened in Brighton as well. That obviously we spoke about that poor little 10-year-old girl in Ireland, right? And you've also had that woman who was on her way home from a night out in Brighton who got raped by 3 illegal migrants on the beach on the Lower Esplanade in Brighton. And that was about I think it was about 5 in the morning. She was on her way home from a night out. That never happens.
It's become so much of a daily occurrence. People are almost like, it's like they're not taking it in anymore, or they're not, or it's just like almost normalized. Oh, okay, well, that's happened. Whereas it used to be like, just like, whoa, that never happens. Like, that's like a really rare thing. And it gets talked about for weeks. Now you can't even remember it from day to day, what's happened, because there's so many. And as I was saying, like in Bournemouth, when I was 16, 17 years old, I would go down to the beach in the daytime, hang out with all my friends, walk through, as it started to get dark, we'd walk through Bournemouth Gardens. I'd call my parents from Bournemouth Square. My parents would come and pick me up. You can't do that now. There's girls getting raped in the toilets in Bournemouth, but in the Bournemouth Beach. I would never in a million years now walk through the gardens. And back in the day, my friends would be like, "Oh, you're from Bournemouth, isn't that where all the old people are?" But now there's illegal migrants in the hotels. I think there's. I don't know if it's 6. There's definitely at least 3. It's between 3 and 6 illegal migrant hotels there. And then you even got county lines down there, because county lines are now going after middle class kids because, they're less obvious, and if people don't know what county lines is, those are like the drug gangs, and they want to use kids because kids go under the radar a bit and their prison sentences aren't as long. So they use kids as the drug mules. That's happening now to middle class kids down in Bournemouth. This never used to happen. This never used to happen. And it's just absolutely horrific. And that thing today, like if we go, I mean, I'm always like switching all over the place, but that thing today with this poor guy walking his dog, I mean, that's just like how many more times? And it turns out that he's an Afghan migrant. Surprise, surprise. Came here illegally on the back of a lorry in 2020. And then 2022, he got leave to stay. So I'm going to say that is under the Conservative government. But they were fake Conservative, the Tories. Like, they like paved the way for all of this to happen. So it's like a uni party. The Conservatives, useless, paved the way for Labour to go and like finish it all off. It's like where's the opposition? They're both 2 cheeks of the same arse. It's 2 smelly, sweaty cheeks of the same shitty arse. Honestly, it's like they're the same. They sorted it out with you initially. I was talking about Serco 3 years ago. They were allowing all those Serco contracts. So, both of them are as bad as each other, except Labour's actually worse because they're just really following it through and speeding it all up with everything else as well. And then they'll tell us, oh, you know what? This wouldn't happen if it wasn't for digital ID. Well, what a load of bollocks that is.
Yeah, mate. And mate, this is the prime example of the clown world we live in, yeah? You've got Lucy Connolly, who's now out, thank God, right? After rotting in prison all that time, right? But then you've got for an emotional outburst, right? Just on how she feels, every human being has emotion, right? Human beings act out emotionally, right? It's normal. It's a normal thing. Doesn't mean she's gonna, she's telling people to go and do something. Do you know what I mean?
No.
It's literally an emotional outburst. It's free speech. It's like, do you know what I mean? She's not inciting nothing. But at the same time, right? So she's rotting away in prison, all that time in prison, right, for over a year, right? But then you've got the likes of, what's his name? The Epping rapist, Habush Kabatu, is it? The Epping rapist, right?
Yeah.
They
14-year-old girl.
Yeah, 14-year-old girl that they accidentally, we accidentally let him out of the cell. We accidentally released him onto the streets and also gave him 76 quid so he could make his way down into London and get lost for 3 days before getting rearrested. Imagine if he went and committed. Imagine if he went and raped another woman in I don't know, in Hyde Park or something. Do you know what I mean? Like during those 3 days, he could have quite easily done that. And then what would have happened? Do you know what I mean? Like, this is all under the Labour government, right?
Oh, and that other one. There was that woman.
When you release someone accidentally, how the fuck can you do that?
But you know what? This is the thing. It's like the person that actually did rape somebody in Hyde Park. He was over here being housed in the Hilton Hotel. Hilton Hotel. Loads of people would love to stay at the Hilton Hotel. I bet you couldn't afford, most people here couldn't afford it on Park Lane or something. Housed in the Hilton Hotel. And it turns out that he was actually put to prison in Egypt for making bombs and being a terrorist. And we're housing him for free. Like, tell me, Sean. It's like, it drives you mad. It drives you absolutely mad. It's just like, where does it end and where does it stop, and how many more are going to happen? Like, it's it's every day. It really is. It's every day.
This is what winds me up, though, mate. Because last year in 2024, they said they're going to commit 117 million pounds to security of mosques, right? So if that was only last year that they said they're going to commit 117 million pounds to the security of mosques, quite a substantial amount of money, if I may add, anyway.
Really is. Yeah.
The security, right? Why do they now? Why do they need another 10 million that Shabana Mahmood just recently come out with? I'm going to give another 10 million pounds for security for mosques.
But it's funny because
so that's basically 127 million pound in total.
She offered to give. Funny, isn't it? How she offered to give that 10 million after the guy, the Syrian, killed somebody killed a security guard at a synagogue, yes. Right? Remember, it was after that. Then apparently they said the mosque went up in flames, but it wasn't the mosque. It was a car across the road, so the mosque wasn't touched. And then around the same time, there was also a man, and you could read his name. It was, it was one of those Middle Eastern, or I'm not going to say Asian because it was like, probably like a Pakistani Indian kind of one of those like names. Probably a Muslim name, was arrested for setting a mosque on fire. So, it wasn't like Peter Jones from wherever or John Smith. It was actually someone who would probably be associated with the mosque had set the mosque on fire. But that extra 10 million was given after somebody had actually gone and murdered somebody at a synagogue. So it begs the question, doesn't it? And then that Mahmood says, this is the thing as well, none of their words match their actions. Shabana Mahmood's like, this is just wrong, we're going to start clamping down on illegal immigration. Yet you see videos of her in Greece welcoming small boat migrants, illegals, into Greece, saying this is where you're going to get your food and your warm clothes and and we're going to help them this. But then on Twitter she's like, we're going to stop this. But none of their actions match any of the things that they say on Twitter. They're not doing anything. Keir Starmer, classic example, tries to give it the big bragging rights to Trump, doesn't he? Oh yeah, we just sent our person, someone back on the 1 in 1 out deal. Oh well, how long has that been? The guy's got back in. He came back in on the boat. So
The
he's got
pair of
a load
them,
of bollocks. It's
mate.
just
Yeah, mate. The pair of them, her and Starmer, they're constantly drip feeding incoherent bullshit to the entire British public, day in and day out. I don't know who handles Keir Starmer's ex social media account, because the shit that comes out in the statuses, mate, I could think, mate, one day he's do you know what I mean? He's the worst person. The next day he's trying to act like he's right wing. What? And the next day he's like, oh, we are a patriotic government. No, you fucking ain't, mate.
But you notice though, when he said that after Tommy Robinson's rally, because I'm telling you, they all must have shit themselves when they saw how many people came to
2
that rally.
million, in excess of 2 mil. I was there. Do you know what I mean?
They must have absolutely crapped their pants when they saw it. And then suddenly you see them trying to be like, oh, I'll tell you what, let's play along, let's bring our flags and confuse the issue. No, none of us, we're not confused. We know you're full of crap. We're not confused. We know the game you're playing. You know, you're going to suddenly start waving your flags because you think it's a little bit safer to do it because everyone at Tommy's rally was doing it. I don't think so. You're going to start saying this like patriotic renewal or national renew, whatever it is, whatever lie. I don't know. They must sit there with a little think tank and go, oh, what little catchphrases can we come up with? If we just keep repeating them, maybe the public will actually at some point believe them. But no one's believing. I really don't think. I do think people are seeing through it. I've got to be hopeful, and I do think that people are seeing through it now.
100%. Yeah, I hope they are as well, because it goes further than what we've been talking about. I mean, you've even got that clown Ed Miliband, right?
Yeah.
He's another prat, and he's in charge of our energy. What? All these wind farms, like, what are they doing, mate? My old man was telling me about the wind farms up in Northumberland, and he was saying literally it's just they were a monstrosity to look at, and also the electricity that all these collective wind farms that get put in place, all these turbines that get put in place, and that they wouldn't be able to even sort out even like 4 to 5% of where he lives.
It's a joke. But you know what? His friends probably have contracts for to do the wind turbines. This is the thing. It's the only possible and plausible explanation for doing it is you have to follow the money again and see again taking and it's our energy bills that are paying for it. It's not like companies are suddenly like they're either getting grants and money from the government or they're getting it from us who have to pay the most expensive energy bills in Europe. They're not getting money from the wind turbines themselves. We've just got to pay to subsidize it all. And then the joke of it is when you actually have wind, when it's really windy, you have to turn them off because they don't work they're dangerous in too much wind. The things can fly off and the turbines can fly off. So you have to stop them. And then when you stop them, the government has to give them money for stopping them. And then then if they generate too much electricity, there's no way to really store it. So then they have to turn it off. It's just the whole thing is such a scam. It is all such
biggest scam going, mate. Biggest scam going, especially with the fact that look up in the North Sea, we're not allowed to drill for oil anymore. Like, why? If we've got our own oil fields, why can't we drill our own oil? But instead, they've said no more drilling. We're going to import oil and we're going to pay through the nose, to have it imported from other countries. Even though we've got our own reserve that can keep us self-sufficient as a country, right? That's just fucking moronic, mate. Why?
But you're shipping it in. So you've got to use the extra diesel or whatever to bring the oil from another country and get it all over. Because I don't think we've got pipelines or anything. So the whole thing's like ludicrous. And it's just a scam to tax you more, like, because that's what everything is at the moment. Nothing's legit. Everything's like literally a scam. Oh, you can pay this like green tax, and we could just start adding taxes on. Because like, if I listened to what they said as a kid, I would have like had my face burnt off with acid rain. I remember them teaching us about acid rain in school and everything. The carbon dioxide was going to make the rain acidic, and I was thinking, oh my god, it's like my face going to burn when I walk out. As a 10-year-old child, did it happen?
Yeah.
No, did it heck?
Yeah.
And I think so many, it's slowly happening. I am positive that a lot more people are seeing it. And I think like it's really important voices like you, just like the normal, everyday British person who works hard, has a family, goes to work, pays his taxes, and just wants to be treated fairly and not like have everything stolen off him by the government. I think it's so
not get
important.
treated like second-class citizens in our own country when we have literally contributed our whole life. We was born and bred here. Like, do you know what I mean? But we're getting treated as the minority in favour of illegal migrants. So that doesn't sit well with me at all. Because what have they done? They've come over here illegally, and now we're placing them up in lovely hotels at the expense of the taxpayer, us, right? HMO, and then now with all the protests have been taking place, all these migrant hotel protests, to now, having to now the government then going, all right, we're gonna move you from hotels to HMOs, and now I'm reading stuff about their latest plan. From what I've read a few snippets from here and there, is that they're making these modular buildings specifically, like these pop-up, like, I don't know, buildings with en suites, I don't know, whatever, for illegal migrants, for then the Labour government to turn and go, oh, well, we've sorted it, we've got them out the hotels, but we've basically placed them in modular buildings, that's still getting paid for by you.
Exactly.
It's not what we want. We want them fucking gone. We want them out the country. Goodbye. Do you know what I mean? You come here illegally, you're gone, mate. Do you know what I mean? There's no ifs or buts about it. And the fact that they don't give a shit about the protection of our own women and children, right, that are constantly getting subjected to the ever increasing crimes committed by these fucking illegal immigrants, right, pisses me off, mate. Fucking winds me up. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, how can they remain in power this long when they're subjecting their own people, right, to all these threats and placing us all in harm's way of these illegal migrants? Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the thing. They're all coming, or the majority are coming from countries and cultures that are extremely misogynistic, don't like women, treat women as a second-class citizen. If you aren't covered from head to toe, you're the biggest slut and you're just fair game to anybody. They can take you, you're all theirs, easy pickings for them, right? That's like the mentality of these people that come over. Because if you're coming over to work hard and to integrate, you would come over with a visa, with a job. There's jobs here, but and then this is the thing, is they're coming over. Like when I went to America and I had to get a visa, I had to do interviews, I had to go through a process, I had to integrate. I couldn't take any benefits, I couldn't do any of that. I had to do it legally. So those people are clearly, they don't want to do it that way. They don't want to come here and work hard and earn for themselves and bring to society. What they're coming here for is that, and you can see it when they do interviews in France, they know that if they come to England on a boat, they can claim asylum and be put up and have everything paid. Have you seen the food? Have you seen the buffets? Like, because there's those people online, they're brilliant. They do whole YouTube videos.
Like kings, mate.
They go in, There's loads of videos on YouTube where they go into the hotel. These men are great. They go over to the migrant hotels. They sneak in, and they're like, well, this is a hotel. It's public property. I can walk into it. They go in and they just take videos of the food and the buffets, and you're just like, bloody hell! If I was in a hotel, that would cost a fortune. That's pizza that most British people eat.
Do you know what, mate? The food isn't the only thing, right? There's a citizen journalist in the community, in the Uncensored Patriots community, called Edward, right? And he's been to a couple of these hotels, migrant hotels, right, on his own, and he got some footage. He went round, he went up to the windows of the rooms, right?
Yeah.
They've got PlayStation 5s. £400-500 consoles, mate. What do they need them for? Do you know what I mean? PlayStation.
Do you know what?
5,
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you why they're giving them. They think that if they give these men PlayStation 5s, it will get them off the street and not raping kids and women. That's the only reason I can think of them doing it, because that's how much they think these men are going to integrate into society. They actually have to keep them entertained with expensive things like that, just to stop, because they're dangerous. They're dangerous. They know they're dangerous. But it's disgusting. Wouldn't your kid love one of those for Christmas? How many kids in Britain would love one of those? No, government's going to pay for these like men to use. It's disgusting. It is so disgusting.
100%, mate. And this is what I'm saying. So he's like, you know, he done a good bit of citizen journalism then, Edward, and he literally showed everyone that these illegal immigrants are being given PS5s, the latest console on the market, a 400 odd pound bit of kit, right? You know, to keep them entertained. And it's like, I'm sorry, but that, do you know what I mean? What the fuck?
Driving lessons? You see them getting driving lessons? I'm like, do you know what? I've got friends.
Uber Eats, mate. Uber Eats. Uber. Come on.
I've got friends who've got kids, and they're just like, you know, bloody driving lessons are so expensive, and you know, my son needs to learn to drive, my daughter's learning to drive, so expensive. And it's like these people are getting, you know, they're getting those given as well. It's just crazy. It's just crazy, Sean. It's like, and I just, you know, and like I said, it's a good thing that you've got the group that people can speak in, like just everyday people who just go to work hard, and are just like sick and tired of it, because I don't really know where people can go and vent and talk about this. Do you know what I mean? Like, people don't go down the pubs as much and things like that. So it's like, where do you kind of go to speak about all of this? And you know, and a lot of people are a little afraid of saying anything, because of, you know, we saw how they went and rounded people up for getting angry and emotional at 3 little girls being murdered, and people got angry and emotional about that, and they got all rounded up. So it's put people on edge about what they can and, you know, can't speak about. And you know, so I think it is important, like having that group that you set up for just everyday people to go and do that.
This is what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? That's probably one big thing that I'm actually really proud about, is the fact that people congregate, you know, with the group that I've set up with the Uncensored Patriots and stuff. And obviously, you got people that, you know, they've said to me, "Oh, this is my safe place." Do you know what I mean? I like coming in here to, you know, emotionally vent about stuff, you know, that worries me, that's on my mind. I've had veterans DM me saying, you know, "Sean, you don't know how good this is for my mental health, mate. I just want to say thank you for that." And I'm just like, shit like that, mate. It's like, it's fucking good feeling, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's like, because these are like, you know, these are other, you know, these are other veterans like myself, and they're DMing me going like, "Really appreciate this, brother." And I'm like, "Mate, sweet." Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm really happy. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I keep saying to them, "He's better off coming in here." and speak to people that actually give a shit than like ringing up someone like Samaritans, mate. Do you know what I mean? You'll feel more welcome, and like people will give you more of their time than you would on a phone call to bloody Samaritans, like.
Who probably don't get it anyway, or don't get like, you know. And then I didn't know you were a veteran and that, and served. And so what do you think then, like, as somebody that's like, what do you think of the country as somebody that served for the country? Like, what do you think? What do you see?
Well, I miss, like I say, I always say, I always want to put this out there. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I've done 6 years, but I missed out on my tour. I missed out on my operational tour. That was just due to the fact that me and my BSM didn't like each other, and he decided to place me on an ERE posting when I was 2 weeks into PDT training for Afghan. So yeah, no, I missed out on my tour, unfortunately. So I was career failed in the British Army, but shit happens. But no, mate, do you know what? I yeah, I think that I don't think that the British Army are I don't think the British Army are seeing eye to eye with the government at all. I don't think that they'll listen to the government if they were to, because, you know, everyone keeps on saying, oh, is there going to be a civil war? Is there going to be civil unrest and stuff like this and stuff like that? Is it going to erupt on the streets between all the illegal migrants and the British people? Are they all going to spill out of these hotels, HMOs and that, and literally, like, because I keep thinking that these hotels are literally barracks. I call them barracks because they're all men. Like, to me, they're sleeper cells. They're just laying dormant, waiting for a signal. That's my personal opinion. That's not fact. That's just what I believe, right? Because it's like they're all men. Like they're all fighting men, and they're out causing all these ever increasing crimes day in, day out. So it's like you've got to question it. You've got to think, well, hang on a minute. Like, do you know what I mean? You know, they're literally overcrowding every area you can think of, all up and down the UK. And it's like, are they just waiting for a signal to like just erupt on the streets and be them against us? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, if you think about the numbers, 1,000 a day at some time on a couple of days over the summer, 1,000, that's a battalion, isn't it? That's a battalion of people coming across the water, sometimes in one day. And then you hear that there's like 40,000 on the watch list, but it's been 40,000 for a while. So 40,000 plus how many that have come over on boats. We don't know who these people are. We don't know their motives. We don't know why they're here. We don't know. They got no papers. So how do we know anything about them? So they tell us that there's 40,000 on the terror watch list. That's jihadists and Islamists, right? You know, I think you're right. There could be, you know, what's going to happen, and I do hope, and then people do say that's another thing that people say. That's the thing, that if there is kind of like a breakout or a civil war, and then the British Army don't side with the government and start like going after the British people, maybe those will be the people they bring out. Maybe it's like a UN army. Are those the people they're going to bring out to keep us all in line when things kick off?
These other rabbit holes, mate, that I just keep going down because I just can't make sense of why we've got a constant influx in just all males coming over through Dover every day.
I know, because I don't think that's the thing. I don't think you can make sense of it unless you start to think, well, it's got to be by design. Because if they wanted to stop it, they could actually stop it. If you actually wanted, like if the government actually wanted to stop it, I think they could stop it tomorrow. There's a few, they could leave the ECHR, they could leave that. We don't need Europe to tell us what our human rights are. We've got our own human rights rules. Like, you know,
they could leave the ECHR like that. All it takes is a few signatures in Parliament.
There's so much that they could do. They could, like you said, they could put the Navy out as a deterrent instead of getting the Royal Lifeboat people to like ferry them in.
Yeah.
So they're getting. I don't know how anyone could ever donate.
The RNLI, they're helping them. They're helping escort them, safely into Dover. And it's like, what are you doing, mate? Do you know what I mean?
That's what I mean. And it's like, so you just got to think, this can't be.
Why can't they designate one ship to pick them up and take them straight back? To have that one ship patrol the water, to patrol the channel near Dover, and if they see any boats, they'll grab them up and they'll fuck them off. They'll take them. They'll literally ferry them back across the other side.
Or they just keep
France
stopping the boats from coming. Yeah, it's crazy. And you know, I just think if they wanted to, they could stop it. So in my mind, they don't want to. That's it. That's the only conclusion I can come up with, is that they don't want to stop it, whether it's for the money, whether it's because they need like a UN army, whether it's because they just want to destroy the country, whatever it is. I don't know the exact reason, but I can only come to the conclusion that this is all done by design, because if they wanted to stop it, they could have stopped it. The Conservatives
100%.
could have done, Labour could have done. It could be stopped. No one wants it. No one, like in general, there's only a few people, there's a handful of people that will come out and say, yeah, we welcome them all in. Absolute idiots, suicidal empathy, virtue signalers, you know, trying to be like the white savior, right? Because that's who it usually is. And the majority of people don't want it. They don't want to keep paying for it. I don't know anyone that's like, yeah, oh, I'm totally fine with all my tax money going to that. So if that's the case, stop it. And they haven't. So, yeah.
Mate, do you know how many times I look across the pond and I get filled with envy of how Trump tackles illegal immigration? So much envy on how that man just literally just sorts it out. Just goes, right, every illegal migrant is gone. And how many is he deported within 6 months?
I don't know, a hell of a lot more than us.
Loads more.
But here's the thing, all we have to do is stop the benefits, right? Stop the benefits.
Yeah.
Anyone that can't speak English, if you can't, why? You want benefits if you can't speak it, get these people out. If you can't speak English and you need an interpreter to get benefits, you shouldn't even be here, because what are you bringing to this country if you can't speak the language? Like, you're not going to be able to work.
Value. They're bringing nothing to put into our society at all. They're not offering nothing. They're not offering no skill set. Like, do you get what I'm saying?
There's so much that can be done. They'll deport themselves. All these asylum seekers, like, just asylum seekers, by the way, like, just stop. We just stop with it all. Just stop with it all, and they'll soon go. Ban like the burqas. That way, a load more will self-deport. Like, there's so much that could be done, and they just won't do it.
That's what I say all the time. I say that all the time, and that's not me being racist, right? They should ban the burqa in this country, because, with all due respect, right, if I went into a shop, right, and I had a balaclava on, right, the CCTV wouldn't be able to pick up my identity, who I am, because they can't see my face, right? So I could go in there and rob something, and they wouldn't have no footage on what I look like. They'd just see a big balaclava on my face. Exactly the same, right? Fits in with people that wear the burqa. You know,
exactly.
It's the same thing, and that's not us being racist. That's due to the fact that, well, I'm sorry, but you could go in this shop and you could rob from this shop. They're not going to pick your identity up on CCTV, are they? Of course they're not.
1,000,000%. So you've got the safety aspect, but it's also like, hold on, we're British.
What, they committed a crime and they were wearing the burqa? CCTV wouldn't know who they were.
No. But and then also, like, as a woman, you've got to be like, hold on, why we're supposed to be like, where are the feminine? How can you allow a woman to be treated that way? That to be forced that she has to dress like that? Like, that's not women's. Where's the women's rights in that? Is it women's rights to say, well, yeah, her man and her religion says she has to be dressed like that, so we're going to all just make sure she's so subjugated by wearing one of those things? Like, it's just wrong. This is Britain. No one one should be walking around like that for safety and for their rights.
I was going to say to you, imagine how hot it must feel wearing them things in 30-degree heat in the English summer. They would cook, because black attracts the sun. So it's a bit like an oven, wouldn't it? Their whole body.
I can't think of anything worse. I cannot think of anything worse. I can't think of anything worse. I cannot think of it. It's just like, I think it's evil. I think it's evil. And then all those people that said, look at the women in Iran literally fighting to not have to wear them. And then you've got these idiots in England saying, yeah, it's fine, it's the culture. And you've got all the women in Iran and Afghanistan pleading that they can't go to uni or they can't learn anything. Or, you hear that there were women trapped in an earthquake and then the men wouldn't touch them. So they were left buried under the rubble because the men couldn't touch them, or they can't see a doctor, and all of these things. And it goes on and on and on. And then you've got all of these, like, virtual signers in Britain going, yeah, but, it's their rights. But you've got the people in the actual countries saying, like, listen, no, we want to be able to take off a thing and show our hair, show our faces. Like, it's mental. It's so mental.
No, it is, mate. It is. And like I say, just wrapping up now. Do you think these protests are? Do you think these protests at the migrant hotels? Do you think they're working? Do you think we should still keep doing them? Do you think we should keep the pressure on and keep doing these protests at the migrant hotels?
Absolutely, because I do think it sends a message, and I do think, as we see more and more of these vile, horrific incidences happen, I think they're going to get more and more support. And at the end of the day, they're out there shouting for their for the women and kids, and it doesn't matter what anyone says, they do get noticed, even if it's just on a local level, and it gets people talking about it. So we might not know what's going on down in Epping, but I bet the people of Epping do, and they'll be having conversations about it. We saw what happened when there was the Unite the Kingdom protest. I was over in America at the time, or else I would have gone myself, but people in America were talking about it. They were like, what is going on? We've seen the rally, we've seen all the people out there. So, there's a lot of people that will say, look, I don't think protests work, but as we said earlier, we saw the way, like, Keir Starmer and the government's they started trying to wave their flags or start talking about patriotism, because you can see they're, like, fearful. And I think rioting, the stupid things like rioting or, like, looting Greggs, which is what they did at Southport, which I always said was like an idiotic move. That stuff is ridiculous.
That's what makes people like that do that make the rest of what the message that we're trying to put across, it makes us look stupid.
Yeah, fully agree. Doing that's ridiculous. Trying to loot any of that, it stops. It just makes everything look nonsense and makes us look stupid. So what they're doing right now, the ladies, the pink, I think it's the pink ladies, whatever, Epping. I think they're doing a good job, and it's got to carry on, so people locally see it, and it highlights where these places are as well, and it also sends a message to the people inside, that we're not, that they're not going to have it, and the people aren't going to have it. No,
100%. Well, listen, Leilani, thanks for coming on, mate. I really appreciate it. It's been a long time coming, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Better at these interviews.
Hey, listen, I still have never interviewed somebody, because I'm like, I chat away, but I'm like, I don't know if I'd be good at asking questions. Or I did fit one in there.
I don't like all that interrogate-y interview like setting. I just like going with the flow. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So no, it's good.
A bit more better. But,
thanks for having me on.
No, you're welcome, mate. You're welcome, and thank you for coming on, mate. It's been a pleasure. And I'll touch base with you tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'll see you in the Uncensored Patriots. No doubt.
Thank you very much, mate. Look forward to seeing you soon. See you later, mate.
Take care. Bye.